It is Saturday morning, 7:15, and the street is still quiet except for the sound of running water hitting metal. A man is standing in his driveway in the same clothes he wore last Saturday, the same bucket by his feet, the same sponge moving in the same slow circles across the hood of his car. He has not checked his phone once. He has not looked up at the sky to see if it might rain later, which would make this whole thing pointless. He is just moving the sponge, rinse, wipe, rinse, wipe. And there is something in his face that looks less like enjoyment and more like relief, like a held breath finally let go. This is not really about the car. Most people treat a car like a tool. It gets them from one place to another, and when it gets dirty, they notice it the way they notice a stain on a shirt, mildly, briefly, and then they forget about it because life keeps moving, and there are more urgent things demanding attention. But this man has built a ritual around something most people barely register. Every single weekend, without negotiation, without skipping, even when he is tired, he is out there with the hose and the cloth. And the consistency itself is the first clue that something deeper is running underneath. Because when a behavior repeats with that much precision, it stops being about the object and starts being about the mind that needs the object to behave a certain way. The brain does not actually crave a clean car. The brain craves the feeling of finishing something completely, from start to end, with a visible result it can see and touch. In a life full of half-finished conversations, unanswered messages, goals that never quite close, this is one task that has a clear beginning and a clear end. Wash, rinse, dry, done. You can see the result immediately. There is no ambiguity, no waiting for someone else's approval, no wondering if it worked. It worked. You can see your reflection in the paint. That immediate, visible feedback is doing something important to a mind that spends most of its week not getting that feedback anywhere else. Think about how strange it is that adulthood rarely gives us finished feelings. Work projects roll into next month. Relationships stay unresolved for years. Even our own personal growth feels like it never actually arrives anywhere. It just continues. So the nervous system, quietly, without announcing it, starts looking for small pockets of life where completion is possible and controllable. Washing a car is one of the last remaining places where a person can start something, finish it, and feel the click of closure. That click matters more than people admit. He needs the click. Now go one layer deeper, because control is never just about wanting order for its own sake. Control becomes a personality trait when a person has lived through moments where they had none. Somewhere in his history, maybe not dramatic, maybe not even remembered clearly, there was a period where things felt unpredictable. Maybe a parent whose moods shifted without warning. Maybe a household where chaos was normal and calm was rare. Maybe just a long stretch of adult life where too many things depended on other people who let him down. When a person grows up or lives through unpredictability, the nervous system starts to prize the opposite. It starts to build small systems of order wherever it can, because order, even a tiny manufactured version of it, feels like safety. Washing the car every weekend is not really about dirt. It is about proving, in a small physical way, that some things in life can still be controlled completely, start to finish, without depending on anyone else's mood or decision. The car does not argue back. The car does not cancel plans. The car responds exactly the way effort predicts it should. In a life where effort does not always lead to fair outcomes, this is one place where effort equals result every single time. That reliability is emotionally addictive in the quietest way. It never lets him down. But there is something even softer underneath the control, something closer to identity than habit. A person who takes care of an object that visibly reflects who they are, whether it is a car, a home, their body, or their space, is often quietly trying to say something about themselves without saying it out loud. The shine on the car becomes a stand-in for the shine they want people to see in them. If the car looks cared for, maybe it suggests that this is a person who has his life together, who is responsible, who pays attention, who is not the kind of person things fall apart around. In a world that often judges people fast based on surfaces, keeping the surface clean becomes a subtle form of self-protection. He's not washing a car, He is protecting an image of himself that he needs to believe is true. This is where the emotional layer becomes almost tender instead of just interesting. Because underneath the discipline, underneath the ritual, there is often a quiet fear of being seen as careless, forgotten, unworthy of attention. If a person grew up feeling overlooked or feeling like their effort was never quite enough to earn approval, they often carry that feeling into adulthood as an invisible pressure to prove worth through visible effort. A clean car becomes proof that says, I take care of things. I am not someone who lets things fall apart. I am not neglected, and I do not neglect what belongs to me. Nobody taught him this. He just learned it somewhere, quietly, the way most people learn their deepest habits, without ever noticing the lesson happening. And this is where the behavior stops being about one man in a driveway and becomes a mirror for something almost universal. Every person alive is carrying some version of this same quiet negotiation between control and chaos, between the parts of life they can manage and the parts they cannot.
Some people express it through cleaning a car. Others express it through overworking, over-exercising, over-planning, color-coding closets, checking their phone at the exact same time every hour, keeping every relationship at a careful emotional distance so nothing ever gets messy enough to hurt them. The object changes. The need underneath rarely does. Different rituals, same ache.
Most people move through life reacting to whatever chaos shows up, absorbing stress, letting things pile up until something forces them to deal with it. But this man, without necessarily choosing it on purpose, has built a small corner of existence where he gets to be the one in charge, where effort always equals outcome, where nothing is left undone, where love, in its own strange, quiet form, gets expressed through water and cloth and repetition instead of words. He is not lazy. He is not obsessive for no reason. He is a person trying, in the only language his nervous system fully trusts, to create one small pocket of order inside a world that rarely offers any. He finishes the last panel. He steps back. He looks at the car glinting under the morning light. And for a few seconds, just a few, something in his chest goes quiet. That quiet is the whole point. So maybe the real question is not why he washes his car every single weekend without fail. Maybe the real question is what you have been quietly repeating in your own life. Some small ritual you never examined closely. Some habit that feels like nothing, but is actually trying to give you a feeling you have never learned how to ask for directly. What are you really doing every time you do the thing you think is just a habit?